San Ignacio Street, just for you to be where
Okay.
to know
What's the
where you
name of
are.
it?
San Ignacio.
Okay.
San Ignacio. San Ignacio as well links Cathedral Square with Old Square.
Okay.
It links two squares, just for you to know. What happened? Normally with the guys, we don't walk on San Ignacio Street because those are not the streets that we're supposed to show. San Ignacio, it hasn't been restored yet. But if you want to see the real Cuba, that's the place where you have to walk.
Okay.
Because we're going to see the fancy places, you might see the real Cuba on that street. Huh? But we're going to walk that street together. We're going to walk the part of the street that is fancy, which is this part.
Okay.
Huh? So we're walking two blocks and we're going to stop in around two corners to begin displaying the Cathedral Square.
Could you just tell me what is this building?
This building, what do you think it could be?
Well, it looks
Come on.
like an art gallery
University.
or a university.
It's part of the University of Havana.
Okay.
It's the San Jeronimo College. San Jeronimo was the official name that the University of Havana had in its beginning. The University of Havana was founded in 1728 in here. And here used to be a convent, San Jeronimo Convent, and they opened the first University of Havana, the College of San Jeronimo. The convent was demolished in the 20th century. The university was moved to the places located nowadays in Vedado neighborhood. And then in the 40s was built a modern building in here that had different functions. The last one was the Ministry of Education. But the building was demolished in the 80s because there was in really bad conditions. Then in the 90s began the construction of this place that then has the former use, original use of this location in here. In here what we could find is three faculties of the University of Havana, the Faculty of History, Archaeology, and Conservation and Preservation of Monuments. Everything dealing with the old town. As well, we could find in here an art gallery, the seat of the Cuban Language Academy, the Cuban History Academy, and the Biology Academy, if I'm not wrong. And is sponsored by the City Historian Office, which is the one that provides all the equipment and the furniture and everything inside the building, and was built by the City Historian Office, which is the institution that rules everything around the construction of the square of the church. And that's when the square earned some importance. So people with money began to build in here. The first house to be finished was this one in here, who lived in here, a rich Cuban farmer, so rich that he bought the title as governor of the island. The people that were born here in Cuba, even if they were Spanish descendants and they had a lot of money, they couldn't be part of the government during the colony. All our governors were Spaniards. But this man in here, Don Luis Chacon, he was the one and only ruling Cuba for 40 years during the colony times.
He was born here.
He was born here. Spanish descendant, but was born here, but had a lot of money. So this was the first house. See how simple it is compared with the rest of them.
Sure.
The other three ones that were built on the same century. Then it was built this one and the other one next door. Notice the difference among the windows will tell you there are two different houses. And we can see that these ones are bigger and more, how could I say, conceived in an architecture way because begins the appearance of the middle floor or mezzanine. This one doesn't have mezzanine, so that tells that this came later. And the mezzanine was what it was for. In the 1700s was the boom of the Cuban economy. And the rich people, of course, became richer. And as they became richer, they needed more servants. So they didn't have the space in their house to house those servants. So the mezzanine was for that. For be the house of the servants. Ground floor was the garage for the carriages and horses and warehouses. mezzanine for the servants, and then the upper floor was the nobility floor. That's how it used to function in all the houses that you're gonna see here. Even the hotel, not in at the hotel where you stay in Los Frailes,
That's right.
it doesn't have, but Florida it do has.
Yeah.
It was like that.
What are these buildings now used for?
Well, this is a museum for colonial art. Last time I checked, it was open. See now, closed again. That one is being restored. It's gonna be open as an art gallery on the upper floor and art shop on the ground floor. Next door is an art gallery. And in here, which is the biggest house on the square, because this man, even if he had a mezzanine, he had the mezzanine just for his offices. He built this small building in here to house the slaves. He didn't want the slaves living with his family. So the house, the nobility house, it is just as you can see as a restaurant. Good spot at night for having drinks. The square at night looks amazing. And I'm not, the food is really good, but you should come here with no hungry at all. If you come here hungry, you will die starving.
That's where we were gonna have our.
But the drinks are good.
Huh? The drinks are good and fast. The food is good, but slow. Service is slow.
Oh, she meant
So you should
because it's a.
have some snack before and then come here if you want to enjoy the place. And as you can see, there is an art shop on the ground floor here and housing on top. These are regular houses. Another interesting place that you would like to visit, or now or any other time, is that es Taller Experimental de Gráfica, Experimental Art Graphic Workshop, or Graphic Art Workshop. This is the only can in Cuba, and here they sell and they work both. So you could deal directly with the artist. A lot of them they speak English, not English, but they can communicate. And it might be interesting for those ones that like engraving or graphic art. Huh?
And what are the hours
For the shops.
or even for something?
Well, a place like this they close at 3 p.m.
Oh,
They should close at 5, but at 3 p.m. we come here and they're gone. So they close at 3. And the shops they might close at 6. Come at 5. Yeah, if something closed at one time, please come 1 hour before. Because when people think I'm closing, it's not that they're going to do all the checkout of the place after they close. No, it's before.
One trying to impress me.
Because when they close, they run
I've seen bigger.
home. That's Cuba.
yeah.
So beautiful we are. So let's have around 5 minutes around here. And let's talk about the church, the most important, yeah, sorry. The church, but the construction of the church began in 1721, it was finished in 1777, and it had been the Cathedral of Havana since 1786. I'm giving you the numbers, I know you're not going to remember, but that's my job. To know that, and that's to show up a little bit. She knows the dates. The facade is our masterpiece dealing with Baroque. The Baroque in Cuba is different to the Baroque anywhere else. First, because it came a century later, it appeared in Europe, so it came a little bit distortionated. And second, because the material on those days was the limestone. And the limestone doesn't allow so much ornaments on it because it crumbles down. So our Baroque style consists mostly on the counterposition of the ornamentation, the columns, the curves of the lines, sorry, of all the ornamentation. So not too much small things like you will find maybe in Mexico and Peru. That the Baroque came on the same time, but the construction material was much better than this one, and also because they have their own civilization when the Spaniards arrived there, and they kept that. We lose our civilization when the Spaniards came. And how was it?
Wonderful. Good. Very good.
Which this one you do know.
Oh, we did the one
Pretty long name.
Oh, that's
Oriental.
real helpful.
What was
We
the first?
we couldn't walk there. We had to
Well, ask
take
Erica.
the.
We
took a bus.
Erica
Ask,
won't be.
ask Astrid. She will know the name.
Erica?
What was
You
the
know
name
the
of
name of the restaurant we ate at?
the Paladar?
Paladar.
San Cristobal.
Ah, see.
Is that a good one?
I've heard a lot of really good things about the place.
Very nice.
It's curious. The decoration there is
Uh-huh.
funny.
Yeah, very
Funny.
interesting.
No, we're a funny group, though.
Right here.
And you know why the name Paladar? We have it? No. Ah, but that's a story for walk another
Okay.
time. But I will tell you, it's a funny comment. So now we're gonna walk along Mercaderes Street. Mercaderes means merchants. And why? Because we're gonna walk directly to Old Square, which is the used to be the first market that Havana had. That market opened between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Speaking the 1500s. And then, when it was closed at 3, the merchants settled down along this street and opened their small businesses from 3 p.m. to 7. So that's why since the 1500s this is named Merchants Street. So now you will find some businesses around in order to give the same ambience of the original functionality of the place. More than a mural is a mosaic made in a new technique named stone text that consists in really tiny stones that are already colored in different shades of brown. They are pasted together into an iron wall forming the drop. It took 8 years to make it, and here are depicted personalities that lived in the 19th century and in any way they helped to form the Cuban culture and identity. They were rich Spaniards, most of them. They were or poets or musicians or writers or just people with money that sponsor cultural events. That's why they are depicted in here. And it's located exactly in here because it has a mirror effect with the facade of this building here. Look that it's the same. In the last part of the 19th century, this building functioned as the first cultural club of Havana. So they are coming here, going to the party. Everything is excuse to make a party here in Cuba, and that's why this.
Hey.
Tell me what that's made of.
Made of paint.
No, the stones are already painted in different shades of brown, and they're pasted together for making the dress. It's a mosaic.
Get them going away.
Don't
Bye-bye,
know,
kids.
have no idea. It's an incredible work. So it was built a house next to the other one, but without any regulation. In 1800s, the government noticed that Havana had any park at all. Not a single park, not a single bush, no green. It was completely gray. So that's why it was built the Central Park outside the city walls. Well, the city walls were about being demolished. So our first park in the city was the Central Park. So when the restoration began, there were some buildings that couldn't be saved. So the city historian office used those spaces to build in here small parks as this to give some fresh air and some green to the city.
And are they open to the public?
Yeah, they are. They are. Actually, they have, by the end, they have a small classroom there. Because right here on the corner, turning right in there, there is a primary school. That those primary schools, they are inside former houses, so they are too small, and they have to distribute their classes in some other places. So there is, I think this is a fourth grade classroom that have their school year here.
Are there mandatory laws regarding children going to school at a specific age?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, we have to
so-
go to primary school and secondary school.
what is the penalty if one family decides they're not going to send their children to school? Is there a what would be done about that?
You know, that's something I don't know because as all of us we have to go.
Okay, so
We just go.
it's like military, you know the expectation. Okay.
And for example, when kids have any health problem and they cannot go, a teacher will be sent there.
Okay, so it is.
So
okay.
still we have, I don't know a single case that
Okay.
actually has a Jehovah Witness, for example, that they don't use the distinctive that we use in primary school. They just go, but without the distinctive. And when I was a leader, there was a little bit of discrimination to these kids, but not now. Not
Okay.
now. It has been a really hard work with teachers, with parents, and all that to let the people know their kids are their children. They don't know. So because some of the time they don't join the rest of the school in a lot of activities, but at least to the school for the main subjects and materials, they have to go. They have to go, and they are expected. Years of school. It's sixth grade primary school, 9 years. 9 years, yeah. We're finishing ninth grade. Mandatory. Then we have to, we may choose whatever to go, or to a trade school, or technical school, or keep going up, junior high, and then, or go to work.
You have what they call pre-university.
Yeah,
What's that? What years?
before
After
university.
ninth grade.
After ninth grade, yeah, we like to go.
On the wall? I think we just take.
Yeah, but that's
coordinate
up to the
Parents
to the
make that.
student or to the parents.
Fun idea, though.
But most of the kids, we finish 12th grade. In any of the cases, trade school, technical school, we keep studying. After secondary school, we keep going on studies.
And is it free?
It's free. Everything.
university is free.
Even university. Kindergartens, daycares, and we wear uniforms since primary school to university. No kindergartens, no university, so that all of us used to wear uniforms, which are free as well. And we have to if we attend the school.
Is there an exam for the pre-college, pre-university? Like
No for the pre-university, but for the university.
for university?
Really hard.
So what, about how many people get into university?
Like the 60% of the ones that present the test, the goes to the test. They're really hard. They're really hard. Yeah, university is free, so it's not for everyone. And that's why it makes a difference. People that goes to university should be people that are really well prepared for that. Because then the studies are hard there.
That's true everywhere.
Exactly.
We have, for all the careers, we have to take Spanish and Cuban history and math. But if we have careers like medicine, for example, we should take extra biology. Or if you want physics, you should take extra physics or chemistry, those specifications.
And when did you start studying English?
Well, that's for me. That was like a hobby. I began with 11 years old, and then my scores at school were not the best, so I couldn't get the official languages university to be a translator. So what I could reach was to be an English teacher. And well, I finished my career, but then when I began to work, I saw that that was not for me at all. You know, teenagers are really tough. And they notice when you don't like your work and you're not a good teacher, so I had to quit. And since God, I have this because I like talking, I like walking, I like being wandering. This is a perfect job for me. It's perfect.
You do a
Was
great
conceived,
job.
conceived just for me. Thank you very much. Germany that was attacked by the revolutionary movement to provide guns and arms to Fidel Castro and his troops at the Sierra Maestra. And as it is a historical site, seeing there on the plate is national monument as well. That's why it's a museum of what it used to be on the 50s. We have inside Old Town, we have three. The three of them. And actually, Art Nouveau has a difference, well, has a huge difference from Art Deco. But there is a curiosity, sorry, it is that Art Nouveau was used mostly for housing, and Art Deco was used mostly for offices. And here, most of the buildings that are Art Deco in Havana and in Cuba, there used to be offices, and most of the buildings built in Art Nouveau, they were houses. This is an apartment building, and the other one we're gonna see was built for being a hotel. It was the very first Art Nouveau building in town. Let's go there to see. Show you this place. We have been told about the show of Buena Vista. Social Club is in here. Really want me to show you where it is. It is right here. You could come here, buy the tickets, or ask Lily to find you the ticket. Better if you ask Lily because the guys, we have a bit more, we could be pushy on that because it's really crowded every night. A lot of people are coming. So if you no, it should not be. Remember, you could never give anything for granted here in Cuba. As the name says, one of the oldest square, and as I told you, the one that used to be the first market of Havana. When Havana, or the popular rich people of Havana, began to go more to the west, the market was moved to the west, and that's when this one was known as the Old Square. The new square was the one with the market. Since that, it had been a flat square for the recreation of the neighbors, as you could see. It's the for recreation of the kids.
Are they in school now?
Yeah, they're in their break or their vacation.
Oh, okay.
Might be because this building on the same street is a private school.
Oh, okay.
So they're on their break or something like that. So this one here is our part on the restoration tour. Now we have 5 minutes that we're going to have to break. You can walk around and see posters like that one over there that shows the before and after of the restoration, and you will see how amazing the work that had been done in here could be.
And are there shops along here too?
A little bit, but more or less, as you can see, foreign shops.
Foreign
Like
shops.
Pepe Jeans and United Colors of Benetton,
Okay.
Mango over there, Lacoste. Really fancy places, not for the Cuban people, for tourists, because the prices in there are like, oh, huge. For just this, window shopping, just like that. And women. Women. And when we got here, he told me this square never existed before. This is a new square. This is not a new square. This square is from the 50s. You're inventing that. No, I'm not. How can And then when we began to work with his son, he said, oh my God, this is unbelievable. The square was almost destroyed. And
Yeah, the
the
pictures.
only building that was completely rebuilt was this one.
Yeah, because you could see it.
It's just rubble. Yeah.
The rest of them, the other buildings were completely restored. Now the one that is still working is that one on the corner. That is the first Art Nouveau building in town.
The first one.
The one that on the corner.
Right there. That is almost extraordinary though. See, that was we saw that on the first day here. It's amazing.
And that was Art Nouveau. And that was a hotel. That was originally a hotel.
I've seen that before. Oh, I'm sorry. I got right here. Just delete it.
I got it before.
This was known as Catalonian modernism. It's because our Art Nouveau came from Catalonia, Spain.
Different than
It's
European.
but was Art Nouveau there, but was not Art Nouveau over here. Known as Art Nouveau here.
Oh, okay.
In the past of years, we began to travel to Europe, to architecture festivals or conventions, and that's when they realized that what it was doing here as Catalonian modernism was known as Art Nouveau.
Just so you know, I went in the corner coffee place to just get a couple of things, and the other group is in there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and they said, "Oh, we have time. We're sitting. We're sitting, having coffee."
We're talking too much.
Does that mean that the
Yeah.
other guy is better than me? No. I'm showing you more.
We learn
We
more.
like
We learn
you.
more.
We like you. You're great.
Don't say that. You're the best hands possible with leading. So let's go to see what it was, the first Jewish hotel in Cuba.
The first.
Jewish hotel. Because from here to the capital and from this street to 10 blocks to the south, because go there to west and go here to south, used to be the Jewish cartier in Havana. Not anymore. Not anymore. The Jewish, there are people that have been really efficient in their business. They make a lot of money really fast. So, and the people with money always move to the west, to Vedado neighborhood, and then to Miramar neighborhood. So the Jewish cartel was, how could I say, spread out really, really fast. But the very first one was from here. You could go inside the hotel because it still has the original ornamentation and take pictures of that if you want. Huh? And it still have the ambience.
Still a hotel?
It's still a hotel.
Do we have time to pop in or should we come
Yeah,
back later?
1 2 minutes.
Okay.
Soho used to be the um, the market of Havana. We saw the Cathedral Square, which is the religious square right now, even right now, but not in the beginnings. Remember, it's from the 1700s. So the first religious square that we had was here. The first order that arrived to Cuba was the Franciscan monks. They built in here their church and convent over there. And the beginnings was built out of wood. This construction that we're seeing, they started the beginnings of the 18th century. And actually that tower, which is 42 meters high, was the highest point of Cuba for around a century and the highest point of Havana till the 20th century. And it still could be visited, the tower. Huh? And well, as I was telling you, this construction dates back to the 1700s, the rich years of Cuba. The square, besides that church and convent, didn't have any other important building dealing with history or architecture till the 20th century when it was built, this one that we're seeing here, to be the stock exchange house of Havana. Nowadays belongs to a real estate company renting the spaces to different foreign enterprises. On the fifth floor we have the Embassy of Brazil. The sixth floor is the radio station and the rest are different offices. But the facade of the building has most of the architecture style that we have been using here in Cuba. It has neoclassical, it has art deco, it has art nouveau and a little bit of modernism. But you will notice that each floor is different regarding the style. That's what it makes it more interesting. So, the thing to say about this square is that building over there, which is the customs of the Havana port, is nowadays the only cruise ship terminal that we have. And this side of the sea, the only cruise ship terminal that we have, the rest is still functioning as the Havana port. The Havana port customs. Sorry. And all that was stolen from the sea, from the bay in the 20th century. Normally or originally, the bay got till here, the end of the square. So, the official first market of Havana was here. Because when
Official
the
what?
market. Because when the people began to download the merchandise from the ships here, that spontaneously became a market. But the monks were already here, so there was a storm, a conflict between the merchants and the monks. And of course, who won? Religion. And that's when the market was moved. But the first commercial activities in Havana began in here, but then was moved there really fast. And it remained as a religious square. The church and the convent, they are not functioning as such since the 1800s. And nowadays, the part of the church, this one that we're seeing, is a concert hall for classic music. And the part of the convent is a museum of religious art, which is behind the
So
tower.
does it function as a church still, yes?
No.
No.
No,
So
since
that's why I had to
1800s.
pay to get in.
Exactly. Because it's a museum and a
Functioning as a
concert
church,
hall.
because it's a museum and concert room.
When the Anglicans came in and they destroyed.
During the 1800s, we were having our independence war, so Spain needed money to finance that war. So they banished all the main religious orders that were here in Havana in order to have their goods and afford the war with them. So it was not only the Franciscan monks, Jesuits, Dominicans, all of them, they were banished back to Spain. And then when they came back in the 20th century, most of them built other venues for their orders. And that's why this one, for example, is not being used as a church any longer. oldest square in town, the first square that was laid out. And why? Because Havana was founded in here on November 16, 1519. Was held on this square the first mass and the first town council meeting to found the village of Saint Christopher of Havana. That's the original name of the city. It remains just Havana with the pass of time. At the beginning, it was just a flat square. A flat square that was used by the soldiers of the first garrison of the city. The first fort of the city is that building over there. Over there. And the soldiers that were at that fort, they used this flat square to perform their military exercises, and that's why the name of the square, Plaza de Armas, Arms Square. Sure with that. The appearance of the square changed in the 1800s. When it was built, this park was commissioned by the Count of Santovenia, the one that lived in there. When he was declared a count, to thank this declaration or this title, he ordered to build here a park with the statue of
Charity's gonna get lost.
Ferdinand VII. That's not the statue. The statue is on the portal of this building. This statue that we're seeing is the statue of Carlos Manuel de Céspedes, our motherland's father. He initiated the independence war against Spain in 1868, and during this war that lasted 10 years, one of his sons was taken prisoner, and the Spaniards asked him to withdraw the arms in exchange of his son's life. And he said that all the Cubans involved on the independence war were also his sons, and he couldn't betray their confidence. So his real son was killed, and that's when everyone began to call him the father of all the Cubans.
Can you tell me his name again?
Carlos Manuel de Céspedes. Céspedes is how we call him. So the statue is placed in there since 1906. And the statue of Ferdinand VII was taken out from there in the late 1700s when he died because he was a really bad king. Was placed inside that building over there. That was the house of the vice governor of the island. But now the place is under restoration. And that's why the statue is outside. Over here where we have is the Havana City Museum. Used to be the house of the governor. Was finished in 1791 and still the 20th century house 65 tenure of governor. In the 20th century had different functions. Was our first presidential house during the Republican time of Cuba. And well, I don't know if you know that the presidential house was moved to what it is now the Revolution Museum. Since 1939, when it was built, that was the presidential house of Cuba. Which is the presidential house right now?
Right. I was about to ask you that. Do you know?
$1 million question. No one knows.
No one knows? Where do you think it is?
Well, we know that Fidel Castro and Raúl Castro, we know where they have some of their houses. Some of them. Of course, we know the president. I don't have my own house, but they have a lot. I'm not the president of it, not even in my house. So, and it is says that Fidel, for example, doesn't spend more than 10 days at the same house. Fidel has a world record on assassination attempts. 632. And still counting because as far as we know, he's still alive. So, and that's why his...
So who's really in charge?
Raúl.
His brother?
I'm pretty sure that Raúl.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Really sure that Raúl, because all these changes, Fidel have been talking about the changes for 50, he was in the power 52 years, so he spoke about the changes about 48 years. I think no changes. Changes was at the beginning. So.
Wasn't he out in public like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, for the convention of the Latin American countries he appeared in public. Yeah. Yeah, he made an appearance. That he hasn't made an appearance for a whole year before. So it was good for us to see him, Fidel Castro.
When did he make an appearance?
around 10 days ago. 15 days ago. Here in Havana, he met with some presidents. We had a congress in here for Latin American and Caribbean countries. and he met with some of the presidents.
Fidel.
Yeah. And with Ban Ki-moon, the president of the United Nations. That, by the way, Ban Ki-moon had a haircut in a hairdresser here in Old Town. That was really funny because it's not a place. It's a place that is for locals, not even for tourists. He just went there. Yeah, walk in front and say, "Hey, let's see this," and he jumped in and had a haircut there. And well, let's have in here around.
What's this building?
Well, over here, by the way, yeah, thanks to Tommy. This building in here used to be the first American embassy of, well, U.S. City in Havana. It functioned as such since 1922 till 1953 when it was moved to Vedado neighborhood near to National Hotel, where it is now the seat for the Interest Office of U.S. You know that we don't have embassies, we don't
Right.
ties.
Oh, but they have what there?
Interest Office.
Interest office.
Interest Office. It's represented, yours in here is represented by Switzerland, and ours there in Washington, D.C. is represented by the United Nations. It's an embassy
Yeah.
without the name.
Right. So
It's
there are
actually that.
Americans who there and run it?
That lived in here. Yeah, and they deal a lot. You will notice the place because there's a long queue all the days for all those Cubans that wants to apply for a visa to go to visit. We have a plan of 10,000 visas to be granted every year from U.S. to the Cuban people. All kinds of visas, 10,000 a year.
Oh, all to United States or other places?
No, to United States. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's not enough. We are 11 million, and I think that around 12 million of Cubans want to travel to Europe. So it's not enough.